What is up, Nuggets? It's your boy, Killer Pizza, here with a brand new video for you rascals and rapscallions out there. First of all, I got to apologize if I'm sounding a bit rough. I'm a little bit under the weather, so you guys, please bear with me here. And it's funny because it's currently a Saturday when I'm recording this, and I kind of, debated on if I was going to make a video or not because it's my day off, and it's normally when I make videos is on the weekends. And I thought, I'm not going to let no bitch ass cold hold me back from talking about horror movies. So here we are. And luckily, it's going to be one of my very favorite videos to make, and that is a horror movie collection update video. These are all the titles I've collected in the past 5 to 6 weeks, so about a month and a half. We have 16 Blu-rays total and 18 movies altogether, I believe. So I want to get right into this, but I have to point something out first. I believe I'm 3 weeks removed from my vacation to Chicago. And I just want to point that out because a lot of these movies are going to reflect that timeline, which is kind of funny. And, you'll see when I get to it. So let's get right into it. The very first movie is Cleaver Massacre. Now, I explained my vacation in Chicago because this movie was one I seen announced on like a Facebook page I follow. I believe Dawn of the Discs or something like that. A page that talks about newer releases. And when I went onto the Scream Factory site, now correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I believe this said this movie was only having 1,500 copies released. And what I've learned through collecting Scream Factory in particular is when these suckers go out of print, they go for a lot of money. I have quite a few movies on my shelf I bought just coincidentally, like Swamp Thing or Dolls or Sleepaway Camp 2 and 3 that are worth so much money now, which is crazy to me. So regardless if I wanted to watch this or not, which I plan on, I'm going to open this up and check it out. Though it's not what I thought it was going to be with a name like Meat Cleaver Massacre. It's a little more out there in plot. But I decided, fuck it. When the opportunity comes, if it really is 1,500 and it's going to go out of print sooner than later, let me just grab this now. So I mentioned Chicago because I seen it when I was like chilling in the hotel or something like that. And we went out drinking that night, me and Nick Baker. And I remember like 3, 4 in the morning laying in my hotel bed and just pulling the trigger on Meat Cleaver Massacre. Like, what a great guy, right? So, anyways, now the next ones I'm going to get into relate with Chicago too. I filmed footage for a vlog for Chicago, but I didn't film the last day. Just kind of just lived it up. So I didn't get any footage inside this record store, Bucket of Blood Records in Chicago. If you guys are ever in Chicago, Illinois, I highly suggest checking this place out. This place was amazing, and I picked up 3 Blu-rays, a vinyl record, and a DVD while I was there. So let me just show you the Blu-rays I got. Ghost Riders with the Slip. I'm not really too sure what this one's even about, like a Western ghost movie or something. I just believe I seen this for a higher price than what I paid, so I just had to grab this. Plus, I mean, look at that artwork. That's pretty cool. Not the biggest fan of Westerns, but you know. And here's one I grabbed, which is kind of pointless. I'm looking over at my DVD shelf because I own all the Phantasm movies on DVD, but I like to upgrade all my stuff to Blu-ray. And this goes back to what I was saying about certain titles going out of print and costing a lot. Like his Phantasm, like 2 and 3, I believe, through Scream Factory out of print and cost a lot of money. So I had to pick up this copy of Phantasm 1 and 2. I've always really liked this release. This just looks so cool. I'm a big fan of like these cartoony kind of cover arts. And two discs on one with the poster inside with the slip cover and everything. This is just a badass looking release. And though I own the complete collection of Phantasm on DVD, it's like Phantasm 1 and 2 deserve a place on my shelf. So it's getting one. I'm going to throw it on up there. And now I debated on even showing this one because it's not horror, but it's Arrow Video. I got this from Bucket of Blood Records as well. This is the El Duce tapes. Now, if you guys remember this guy from back in the day from, I forgot the band's name. It's slipping my mind. Some of the R, now I look like a fucking mark because I can't remember the name of the band. Like, it's The Replacements, not The Replacements, but, I don't know. El Duce was known for, like, being a very controversial artist back in the day. A lot of people probably remember him being on the Jerry Springer Show and all the talk shows with, like, Guar and Gigi Allen and everything, but this is pretty much a documentary of a guy who just followed El Duce around like in LA and just got a bunch of footage of him acting crazy. Now, he's not Gigi Allen crazy, but this dude is crazy and it was a pretty fun story. And this is actually the first Arrow video release I believe I ever got with a slipcover. I'm not sure how new this is, but yeah, I switched around to the original artwork on the bottom. And quite a few special features. Arrow videos kicks ass. So that's all the stuff I grabbed from Bucket of Blood. I actually grabbed the G.G. Allen documentary on DVD and the Return of the Living Dead vinyl record of the soundtrack. So I plan on making videos showing you guys that stuff. I'm going to review the G.G. Allen movie, probably be my next video that comes out, and I want to show you guys the Return of the Living Dead vinyl as well. So we will get into that in time. So now those are all the movies I grabbed from Chicago. Now this is actually the latest movie I picked up, Scream 5. Now, I'm sure a lot of you guys know of this movie. It was pretty good when it, pretty well spoken about when it came out. But yeah, I kind of reserved my comments on this movie because I was thinking about doing a review of it. I don't know if I'm a little too late to be doing a review because, it came out a long time ago and was streaming. But I waited until the Blu-ray came out. So I actually own 1 through 4 as well, and I rewatched the entire series 1 through 4 before I watched this. So if you guys are interested in me doing a review of Scream 5, let me know. And if you guys are interested in me ranking the 5 Scream movies, let me know. That's something I'm actually pretty interested in doing. Now, this wasn't necessarily a suggestion, but this is what my friend Rudy was talking about the other day in the locker room of IWE. Nosferatu. We were kind of talking about how spooky this vampire is and everything. And to be honest, I don't know if I've ever seen this movie. I think I've just seen clips of it. And I believe this is the oldest movie I now own in my collection. This is just one of the scariest looking vampires, especially like in the black and white. Just his bald head and the look this guy has with his long claws and everything. And I'm kind of slacking on a lot of my Universal monster movies and like older horror movies. So this is one of the older ones I picked up. I'm going to start picking up more of like the essentials in due time. So this is a step in the right direction for more of the older horror movies because we got to respect what comes out, what came out in the past. Now this next one is actually one I don't know much about. This is a suggestion from my buddy BL. He actually suggested Children Shouldn't Play with Dead Things, which I reviewed on my channel. And he suggested this one for me, Death Dream. Don't know much about this one, but hey, his last suggestion was really good, so I picked this one up. And like I said to you guys before, if you have any suggestions of movies I should do, let me know. I'll gladly watch them, Like I said, Nosferatu was just mentioned in the locker room. I had to go out and get it. So, yeah, excited to check this one out. Now, the next bit of movies are kind of funny. I mentioned Chicago because I came back from the trip and didn't go to these like retro toy stores and stuff like that. And some certain places just didn't have time. And my point is, I saved a lot more money than I planned on, spending. So I came back from vacation with a pretty fat stack, and I could have just put it in my savings account like I normally would do. But I thought, I took like 3 days off after vacation just to hang out at home, and I was like, I'm gonna make it like Christmas in this bitch and just order some movies that I, for no fucking reason, just order. And that's what I did, and this is where the majority of my stack came from. I just kind of went crazy and just bought a lot of things that I've been wanting for a while because I had the extra pocket change. Now this first one was one I thought was hard to find on Blu-ray for the longest time, but I found it randomly. This is the original I Spit on Your Grave. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of like these like rape revenge movies, but I just recently watched Last House on the Left by Wes Craven not too long ago, and it was, I won't lie, it was pretty rough to get through. Certain parts were really hard to watch and kind of disgusted me in a lot of ways, but for the sake of art and film, I had to watch it. And after letting it sink in for weeks, like, it was actually a pretty good movie. I don't know about the rewatchability like right away or anything, but that's where I Spit on Your Grave comes from, because this is known as like the ultimate rape revenge movie. And spoiler alert, if you haven't seen Last House on the Left, like, the victims get killed and everything. At least in this one, I know the victim comes back and does all the killing. And there's a pretty notorious scene I've always heard about this girl cutting one of the rapist's dicks off in a bathtub or something. So this is one that's been on my list for a long time to check out, and now that I finally got the balls to watch Last House on the Left, I think it's finally time to watch the original, I Spit on Your Grave. Now, here's a title that I wanted when it first came out, but Arrow Video put out this giant like box set for it, and I just never seen the movie. For a blind buy, I didn't need to pay $60 for a box set or get this giant release of all these posters, but they put out a standard edition of Phantom of the Mall, Eric's Revenge. So I'm pretty happy to have this in my collection. It just seems crazy, like Phantom of the Mall, like Phantom of the Opera, but in the mall. Like, you could put a horror movie in a mall in the 80s and I'm going to want to watch it. That's just like how I am. So, yeah, let me know if you've seen this one or any of these other ones I've been talking about for this matter. Excited to check this one out. Now, you guys know me that I have like a strange rule of like getting 4Ks, certain 4Ks or certain steel books, and I have the same thing with like Criterion, because Criterion is probably like, though I like Arrow Video and Scream Factory the most, Criterion does probably put out the best stuff, like quality wise, and they're known for kind of putting out like these classic movies, like cult classics, just really good, like highly regarded films and everything. So I try to hold away from Criterion so much, as weird as that sounds, because I feel like if I own this title on that, why don't I have this one on that? But I finally pulled the trigger on Videodrome. This is one that I've heard about my whole life and have never seen. I tend to kind of like steer away from stuff that leans a little more science fiction-y, but I finally had to go with Videodrome. And this packaging, like I was saying, like it's like a VHS tape on the side. How cool is that? Like, so yeah, Videodrome, beautiful release. Excited to check this one out. And now, speaking of my rule on 4Ks, I think the last collection update I did, I kind of like went off on a tangent about 4K. Where like, uh, you know, there's so many weird titles that get released on 4K, and I sit here and think like, why should I buy this random one on 4K if I don't own like this other film that's like one of my favorites on 4K? Like I kind of have the mindset like I only want my very favorites on 4K or older movies that will look a lot better. And that's a gripe I have with Scream Factory a little bit with the 4K of Alligator. I'm like, why didn't you guys just release a Blu-ray of this too? I would have loved just a Blu-ray. But, like I said, this is like the prime peak of me just blowing money after vacation where I was like, fuck it. I'm buying Alligator because I'm a huge Scream Factory fan and almost everything they put out I love. So I was like, I'm finally going to get Alligator, which, I mean, from what I've heard, it's a pretty dope movie, pretty much like Jaws, but with a giant alligator. And with that being said, I picked up Alligator 2. Now, this is kind of the release I wanted for Alligator 1, just a standard. Though this isn't a collector's edition or anything. What is this? Alligator 2, The Mutation. Look at that artwork. I hope it's somewhat similar to what, the cover art shows. I'm sure this will be pretty dope, like with the practical effects of the mechanical head and everything with the alligator. I'm kind of excited to see what they'll do from like a movie from the 80s because I never really heard of these movies before Scream Factory announced them. Didn't hear about them much. I probably heard about it here or there, but yeah, I'm excited to check out Alligator 1 and 2. All right, now here's a random ass one I picked up. I own Malevolence 1 and 2, and I finally picked up Malevolence 3, Killer. It's kind of a mixed bag how I feel about Malevolence 1 and 2. They're pretty good for more modern horror, but part one was pretty copycatish to a lot of elements. I mean, part two was as well, but there was a lot of things I liked, and overall I enjoyed the movies. And I thought, hey, finally time to finish off this trilogy. So, Malevolence 3. All right, then. Here are some that I'm not the biggest fan of, just based on the director. Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2. We all heard about the director, did some terrible things. If you don't know, Google it. But, another Scream Factory release. I made a post on my Facebook a while ago just asking people about horror movies, and this was kind of a suggestion from my boy Ant, Caesar Asher. He said he was a really big fan of Jeepers Creepers, and I was kind of taking people's suggestions for stuff I didn't own, and then he mentioned Jeepers Creepers, and I said, fuck it, Ant's one of my best friends. I'm like, I'm going to grab Jeepers Creepers 1 and 2, because you suggested it, man. Now, here's another one. I don't know if you'd regard this as comedy horror comedy, but this is one I kind of grew up on. Having an older sister that loved horror. We've seen this one a million times. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, the movie, which a lot of people forget that this came out before the TV show, and this one was pretty fun from what I remember. Got this vampire in the back with the long hair. I just remember his scene of getting stabbed in the chest with the stake, but yeah, this will be pretty fun to check out, revisit Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And on to the very last title, we have House 2. Okay. So, another series I didn't watch for the longest time, and another gripe I have with physical media. How come Arrow Video, I know they're based out of like England, so they'll put together all these dope ass box sets like for Children of the Corn or House that aren't region free. It's like we want these in America too. So, anyways, I finally bought House Part 1. It's not as good as people said it was, in my opinion. It was a little slow for me, but it was good enough that I wanted to get House Part 2. So it was out there. House 1 was crazy, and apparently this one is even more crazy. It says on the cover, it's getting weirder. I'm like, all right, groovy, man. Let's get weird, right? So that is my collection. That is my stack of movies. Let me know if you guys have seen any of these movies. Like I said, it was kind of fun how this timeline went by where like I ordered one while I was in Chicago, which is like the ultimate physical medium, collector move. I'm on vacation and I order something to be delivered to my house in Michigan while I'm in Chicago, and then bucket of blood. Yeah, I didn't get to stay in there longer. I plan on going back this summer, and I want to do like a full tour video of that store because it is awesome and they had so much good stuff. Maybe a good thing I didn't hang in there longer because I spent a lot of money. And then, like I said, this last chunk of movies, I just got home and was chilling for 3 days. And I was like, I'm gonna spend this damn money. One of those deals. It was vacation money, so be it. But yeah, guys, let me know if you've seen any of these movies in the stack, and let me know if you have any suggestions. Because, like I said, 2 of these movies in the stack people suggested to me, and I went and picked them up, and I'm excited to watch them. Because I like the horror community that I'm in. I like all my subscribers, all my friends on here that follow me, and anybody who subscribes me, you're a friend to me. I love talking horror with you guys, and yeah, keep it coming. Keep the suggestions coming. Let me know what you guys want to see. Like I said, let me know if you want to see that Scream franchise ranking. I feel like a lot of people have it in the same order, but I wouldn't mind talking about all the movies without doing like a full review of every single movie, or maybe I'll just do a retrospect on all of them. I don't know. Either way, appreciate you guys watching. Hope everyone's having a good one. Watch some spooky stuff. Watch some horror movies. We're almost to Halloween, over halfway there. So, blood, guts, gore. I'll check you guys next time.